When I was a child, I lived in some very unsafe neighborhoods. Lots of violence, lots of bullying, weapons, and then there was a whole bunch of violence in my home as well. From very early on in my life, I could recollect even when I was in a diaper, how stressful, how fearful it was. So I know fear, and I know that when that fear resides within, it becomes anxiety, and anxiety becomes a companion. With that being said, I want to start with a story. When I was a child, I lived in a back east in a scary neighborhood. I was young. I was weak. I did not have much strength. I was not a fighter. And this kid, John Williams, if you're out there, you're listening. John Williams was 13 years old. He's 4 or 5 years older than some of the younger kids I used to hang out with. And he used to carry a knife. And back then, that was a big deal. And he was very threatening. He bullied all of us. And usually when he bullied me, I would just submit. So if he told me to do something, I just did it because it wasn't worth getting the beating. So this one day, me and the younger kids and Debbie, I had a crush on this girl, Debbie, and she was a little bit older than me. And we're just talking, and all of a sudden, John Williams comes up. John Williams comes up and he looks at me and he tells me to throw myself into the pricker bush. The prickers were huge. I didn't want to do it, but if those kids weren't there, I would have done it, and I would have done it immediately, just so I didn't give him any kind of justification to be more of a bully than he already was. And I looked at the other kids, and they kind of looked at me. They were scared, thinking like, they don't want to see me do that. And they also, I think, were scared, like, are they next? And they kind of also looked at me. The same kind of look was like, do something. And in my mind, I'm like, there's nothing. The size discrepancy, the strength, the aggression level, all of that. I have no chance. So I'm stressed out. Anxiety's building up, and he keeps telling me, and he's getting louder and more forceful. So now I'm scared even more, and I keep looking at them, and I'm looking at him, and finally he's so agitated because I'm not complying that he comes running towards me. Luckily, I've been watching wrestling on TV, and I've seen before when someone runs at them, you grab their arms and you swing them. Fortunately, I ended up doing that. Threw him into the pricker bush. I used his momentum against him. Oh boy. Now I'm super scared, more scared than any time before, because now I deserve whatever I'm going to get. So then he's pissed. Gets out of the pricker bush, comes running at me again. I do the same exact thing. This time he stumbles and falls. And my natural instincts, I get out of my pin him. I got my fist clenched up. I'm crying. The kids are cheering. I'm in a zone. What do I do here? Because if I bully him, if I hit him, and I don't even know if it would have affected him, but if I do it, then I'm just the same as him, and I don't want to be like that. I know as a recipient that I don't want to do that to someone else. Scared, going back and forth. It seemed like it was forever. All of a sudden, my mother calls. When she whistled one time, she was across the street. She whistled one time, that means I had to go running. And if I didn't go running right away, then I got punishment. So I'm in a major dilemma. I got all these things racing in my head. I'm feeling full of anxiety. I also feel a little bit of strength and a little bit of control. And for the first time in my life, I asserted myself. I didn't do it intentionally. I didn't have a game plan ahead of time. I just did it. My natural reactions. I don't know what to do. So I'm weighing all of these things. I feel like I got to kind of stand up for us smaller kids, us younger kids. I feel like I got to submit and not, push this any further in hopes that, the next day, because bullying is around the corner. This was a daily occurrence. So I was in this major dilemma. I saw the fear in his face, and I never saw that before. And all of this was one major experience of fear. I got up. I didn't turn around. I walked home. I'm not going to tell the rest of the story. It's not pretty. My punishment was severe. But in that scenario, I was feeling all the things that people typically do when they're scared. The very next day, and every day thereafter for several days, when I would walk home from school, John Williams would take rocks and he would throw them at me as I was walking home. I remember feeling the hits on him. I used to have a metal lunchbox, the pings off of that. And that happened probably for about 30 days straight. And on the 31st day, I'm used to this now. It's the same old thing every single day. and I don't like it. I'm full of anxiety. I'm scared to go to school. I'm scared to walk home from school. Scared to be out in the community. All I want to do is be out there and have fun and play and enjoy sports and hang out with friends. And I'm just scared all the time. On the 31st day, all of a sudden, this kid, a bigger kid, a stronger kid, saw what was going on and grabbed John Williams, and whatever thereafter happened, John Williams never threw a rock at me again after that, nor did he ever bully me again. And I say that story for lots of reasons. There's lots of layers, there's lots of messaging in here. When we're in an experience, when we're afraid, we have two main options about what's the source that's going to help us to overcome. It's either ourselves or it's someone outside of ourselves. In this scenario that I just got done explaining, I rose to the occasion without knowing exactly what to do, but I wasn't able to sustain it. I didn't have a game plan to move forward to continue to combat against this threat. And then someone bigger, stronger, smarter, more benevolent, all those good qualities took care of that problem for me. I think the same is true for all of us as we walk through life, that there's going to be times when we're called to train ourselves and to develop the skills and the strength and the endurance, the agility, flexibility, all that's necessary to combat against a threat. And then there's going to be other times where we need to seek someone stronger than ourselves to be able to take care of the threat. And I want you to think about that in your own life and the things that tend to scare you. I don't like spiders. I don't like snakes or centipedes or sharks or any of those creatures. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. You might have your set of things that you don't particularly enjoy and something that scares you. My main focus today, and probably for the next several sessions revolving around fear and anxiety, is that you learn to not be afraid of the stuff that you could and should learn to be able to overcome in your own power. Most of this revolves around messages. I see so many people. I'm a parent coach, a family coach. I'm a mentor to youth. I work with organizations and athletes. I could go on. Everybody, provide leadership training to nearly anyone. I see over and over and over again so many people, especially young people, who fear being educated, never mind feedback. Correction is even more overwhelming, and being disciplined feels like punishment. Think about what that I'm saying here. So many people, young people in particular, they're afraid to be taught. They're used to learning on their own, or they want to learn on their own. They want to figure it out. They don't want to be told that they're making mistakes or they're failing or they're weak or anything that they would perceive as negative. I think in general, we have a very weakened set of people walking around that are not capable or willing to receive feedback. Feedback is a beautiful thing. Feedback is love. Correction is love. Discipline is love. Why would you say no to love? And here's the reason why. The fear is so strong and dominating that instead of learning to submit and learn and train and get better to overcome it, fight against it or try to avoid it. You know what I'm talking about. You might be in that same boat, or as a leader of other people, you might see the same thing. Fear is one of the four main reasons why someone doesn't ever accomplish a task. The other is a lack of requisite skill. One is resistance or rebelliousness. The other one is lazy or preference. I want to do something different. I can do it, but I'm not going to do it. And then the fear of a negative outcome. We have many, many people, myself included in some ways, walking around with inaccurate, unreasonable, and then therefore destructive beliefs that certain sources and certain messages and certain behaviors are threatening when they're actually not. That's sad. And that means you're walking around with anxiety, and that anxiety is causing you to be uncomfortable, and it's causing you to either want to fight or flee, or you end up getting stuck. We talked about traps before in previous webinars, and I'm going to talk about them a lot. It's a trap. It's a bad cycle when you're afraid of something that you should not be. When you encounter any of the bears, polar bear, it's not good at all. you want to do everything possibly proactively to keep yourself as far away from a polar bear. They will hunt you, and that's it. They're one of the few, if only, species out there that will actively hunt you, and you don't have a chance. So the goal is to be proactive and avoid that as much as possible. With a black bear, you're supposed to stand strong and assert yourself. You're not supposed to be aggressive. You're not supposed to attack, but you stand strong and let you know that you're formidable. With a grizzly bear, you're supposed to do the complete opposite. You're supposed to submit and acquiesce and try to be as passive as possible. None of those responses are foolproof, but it shows you that at different times, there's different responses that are ideal. I've talked a lot about this in the past, and I will continue to do so as well. Every single moment of every single day, you need to choose to be assertive. And assertive is to walk forward, trusting and having faith. It's not smart for you to assert yourself if you don't have the skill to be able to overcome whatever the threat is. So if you're afraid of being disapproved, which so many people are, and you're walking around and you don't have the requisite skill set and you're not applying it, then you will succumb to the threat and it will damage you. Think about that. Disapproval is something that I promise you every single time, most of us, if not all of us, are going to encounter on a daily basis multiple times. When you're walking around and there's other people around you, they're evaluating you. They're making judgments about what you're wearing, what you look like, your facial expressions, your verbalizations, the messages you send through your nonverbal behavior, your work, your productivity, your performance. You can go on and on. We are constantly being evaluated and judged. And unfortunately, those judgments fall under two main categories, either disapproval or approval. That seesaw will ruin people. Young people today are so often on this seesaw of disapproval or approval, and when they're not getting the approval, they're getting the disapproval. I'm a big proponent of affirmation. Affirmation is just giving feedback on exactly what you saw, and it's thematic. I appreciate or respect your resilience in that scenario. That's affirmation. Great job, or that's awesome. That inflates. Disapproval deflates. Back to fear. If you're running around and you're fearful of being told that you're imperfect, you're insignificant, you're not of great value, you're weak, you're limited, you're wrong, you're a failure, you're mistaken, those right there are big time fears for a lot of us. And here's the reason why. We don't want to accept the truth that we have imperfections, that we are frail or weak or limited. People don't want to accept that. That's the reality. I have no problem accepting the good, the bad, and the ugly of life. I don't. I've trained myself to get to the point where whatever happens is true, false, or I don't know yet. And if I know that it's true, then so be it. I accept it. And if I know it's true and I can work on it to improve it, then that's on me. And if I don't invest the time, effort, and energy and the focus to be able to learn the skills, master them, to be able to overcome that, then that's on me. I need to accept the consequences that go with that. I also know that when it's true and it's a limitation, meaning I can't do anything about it, that's it. That's my cap. That's the max I can do, to accept it and rest. I don't like it. I don't love it. I wish it wasn't so, but I know that I'm limited. How many of you out there know that when you come up against your limitations, your absolute max capacity, to stop and be okay with that, to accept it and to keep it moving and not allow that discomfort, that negativity to plague you? I'll tell you right now, if you just do that today and you practice that and you repeat, your life will be significantly better. But here's the challenge, and it's difficult. You have to be able to discern between what's a weakness and what's actual limitation. And so many of us are walking around with this inaccurate view of what our weaknesses and our limitations are, and even our strengths. It's important that you analyze your skill sets in certain scenarios, especially when it comes to threatening material. I want you to stop and think about what it is, the 5, 10, 15, 20. List them out. Type them out. Talk to someone about them. Share in the comments. Whatever it is that you need to do. List out the things that you commonly encounter on a daily basis that you find threatening. Is it disapproval? Is it failure? Is it that you're unattractive according to someone else? Is it that you're insufficient? Whatever it is, write down those fears. For me, I've been in several car accidents, none with when I've been driving. When I enter out into the roads, I'm afraid. And I have to really calm down and I have to put my position, I have to place my mindset in a position that I'm going to be calm and composed and present. I cannot allow anything, I can't worry about what I have not accomplished in a day. I can't drag history in. I can't worry about too much of the future. I have to stay in the moment and I have to have confidence and I have to have faith. I'm not going to trust everybody else in how they drive. I have to have confidence and faith in myself that I'm going to be able to adjust and adapt as necessary. Do I do a great job with this? Not all the time. My biggest problem, and maybe it's yours as well, is that when I leave the house, I go from a nice, safe, secure environment where I'm not thinking about threats, and I leave and I don't apply that proper mindset. So I'm not being proactive. And then if I'm not being proactive, I have an opportunity to either be reactive or responsive. And if my mindset's not right, I will be reactive and then I'm got. I allowed the threat, I allowed other people's behavior or messaging or decisions or irresponsibility to dictate to my well-being. That's not smart. That's not smart at all. I have to learn to remind myself, and that's a pro tip right there. Remind yourself once you're aware of what those threats are, what it is that you likely are going to encounter, and be prepared. Don't be slow to learn and put yourself back in the same trap. Be smarter than that. I've said this before. You have to be intentional in life. Every single day, you're making thousands of decisions. Go left, go right, go straight, go backwards, whatever it is. Learn to see these traps coming. Usually there's 5 to 10 to 15 different scenarios during the course of someone's day where the threats are going to be there. If you get more organized, more scientific, if you learn to have a game plan, you learn to identify those sources and what they do or don't do. And then now, okay, you're in a better place. You're more prepared. Now you can get locked and loaded and then come up with a game plan for exactly what you need to do. And I'm going to tell you all day long, every day, that means to be assertive, to not allow the negativity to impact you. If someone says something truthful to you and it's threatening to you, then accept it or work on it. It's that simple. If they falsely accuse you, they project their own garbage or transfuse that onto you, it's not fun. It's horrible, actually. I get it. I've been there. I'm still there. I don't like it. But see if there's any truth in there or any value in there, and then get rid of the rest. That's the reality that we live in. People are going to constantly be making judgments of you. It's not always going to be pretty. To be honest, most of the time it's not. Learn to accept that that's the way it is. Learn to not do the same thing for others, because that's not good for your own soul, nor for those people as well. And then also, and this is really important, is that you march forward and don't allow the negativity to destroy you. If you want to look at it this way, I do, you have enemies. Your enemies, and it's not a plaything. Like, I don't want to lighten that up. It's a real thing. You have enemies that are trying to destroy you. And if they can get you to the point where you're constantly walking in a state of fear or anxiety, you're losing. Because when you're in a constant state of fear or anxiety, it causes discomfort. And that discomfort, when the emotions are high like that, then the logic's low. It doesn't allow you to think as clearly as you'd like. It doesn't allow you to think as critically as you'd like. You are being compromised and then therefore dictated to. You are in the middle of a war with tons of battles every single day. And it all boils down to, what am I going to do in this scenario? Do scenario analysis. What is the threat? What are they doing? And then I want you to stop and think about the same thing in reverse. What is it that you do that other people perceive as threatening? Either way, in either of these scenarios, you need to come up with a game plan to no longer walk in fear. You should be afraid of certain things, but messaging in particular, you really shouldn't. Don't let negativity dominate you. Learn to assert yourself, and like I've said many times, move forward with intention. You're going to get hit. You're going to get threatened. The more that you get stronger about this type of stuff, when people are accustomed to seeing you react and dance the way that they want you to dance, it's going to be more threatening, which is good news. I want to say this undoubtedly. Instead of walking in fear, start walking in excitement. Get fired up that this is the threat that I'm going to overcome. If you live in a home that had constantly threats of rattlesnakes and scorpions getting into your house, you're going to do proactively, you're going to get to work and you're going to come up with you're going to seek out expert level understanding, and you're going to develop a perimeter to try to do whatever is possible, fencing to keep these creatures out, right? If they still keep getting through and they get to your house, then you have to get to the point. Are you going to call someone every single time to come get there? Too much time is going to elapse. That's not foolproof. You have to learn to handle that threat on your own. If that's the threat that you deal with on a daily basis, it behooves you to rise to the occasion to learn how to be able to deal with that. Me personally, I don't even like the thought of that, but that's what it is. And the same thing goes for messaging, all those negative, threatening messages. Be prepared. Know that it's going to exist because it already is telling you. Intelligence is understanding what's going wrong and developing a game plan to what's right. Show that you have that intelligence. I promise you, you're selling yourself short all too often on how your capacity is. You are intelligent. You are in position to be able to handle lots of negativity and move forward and not let it infect you. The key is understanding it, and then, like I said earlier, instead of dreading it, trying to avoid it or fighting it, instead of getting stuck or trapped by it and tortured by it, look at it and go, no. This is exciting. I look forward to the opportunity to practice my skills and get better. Don't worry about making mistakes. That's part of the process. It's a beautiful thing. I love making mistakes. I really do. I really, really do. I enjoy it because all right, that doesn't work. So then I keep trying. Tap into that creative aspect of who you are. So many of us walk around and we've been dictated to and programmed to focus on this, that, or the other thing. And we're really not honoring the stuff that we really have within us. I work with people all the time, and I see the beauty and the strengths within them. And it makes me sad that they're getting dictated. They're not allowed to live. They're not allowed to chase or explore and figure out what it is that they've been given. They've been buried with negativity and threat and anxiety and depression. It makes me sad for them. And then I can only do that for so long. That's my job to coach them through that, help them understand what the negativity is, and then here's the marching orders and get to work. And I don't have a skin in the game on what people choose to do with the information. I want to be a source that helps provide them with the information they need to be able to move forward, especially in these difficult circumstances. I say this very often. I'm not going into the jungle with someone that doesn't have mad experience. Now, I don't care how many books they read. That's still important. I like it. But practical experience, they've been in there and they know all the threats. And not only do I want that leader to know all that stuff, I want them to know exactly what to do in each and every scenario. And I want them to teach me. I want them to be right next to me. And I want them to tell me, take a step left in this direction, this fast, and hold that position. I want that level of detail and feedback. I want that level of education. And then when I make an error, I want correction in a way that I can hear it, the way that I can absorb it and learn from it. I have difficulties learning in lots of different ways, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this. So when you have those kind of challenges, it makes it very difficult to learn when you're in a threatening environment. I want progressive overload. I want someone to help guide me and be there and be patient and empathic and merciful. I want to be able to be less than perfect. I want to be able to be agitated and frustrated and scared and all that, and have that guide, be okay and expect all that and know how to respond in that way and prepare me and train me. So when that threat is there, that I know exactly what to do. And then I want to try. That's the hardest part right there, because you're going to have to overcome your fears, and you're going to have to say, I am prepared. I am locked and loaded. I'm going to try. That right there is the key. Just trying. Don't try wild. Don't try unprepared. Don't jump into shark-infested water and think just because you have a good mindset that everything's going to work itself out. I worked with this kid a long time ago. He told me he was warned to not swim in this area of water because it's infested with hammerhead sharks. Kid did it, swam across it. He was gone for hours. He ended up getting rescued by the Coast Guard. I talked to him years after the fact, and I said, "What were you thinking?" Not like I wasn't saying it in a judgy kind of way or like, "What's wrong with you?" I just exploring, and I said, "Well, what were you thinking in that scenario? Like you were warned. Hammerhead sharks have been known to attack. They're very threatening. They're huge. They can be aggressive. Seen a hammerhead shark move in the water before? It's amazing." And he said, "I was completely calm and comfortable." It wasn't his words, but that's what he was saying. And I said, "How come?" I said, "What was going through your head?" And he said, "Because I believed that I wasn't a threat to them." Now, I could see that and I like that to a certain degree. Is it the wisest thing to do? I think for some people in some scenarios, that's where that discernment comes in. Ultimately, I want you to think about your scenarios where your hammerhead sharks are and think about, is it worth it to go in that water? Is it more worth it to go in that water better prepared with a better mindset? Is it worth it knowing that these potentials can exist and you're prepared to respond to it? I can't answer those questions for you. But what I can do is advocate strongly that you do whatever it is to be able to analyze those threatening scenarios and do not let unreasonable, destructive fears dictate to you. One last story before I go, and this is one of my favorite stories. I get emotional just thinking about it. I don't like snakes. My sister is 2 years younger than me, same birthday. Uh, we grew up same scary environment with lots of violence and abuse and et cetera, et cetera. She has her own set of fears. I have mine. I love mowing the lawn. This is probably, 15 years ago or so. I said, "Can I go out and mow your lawn?" I was in town and I was so excited. I'm mowing the lawn. I'm having a good time. I get to see, cause and effect. In my field of work, it's you don't always get to see the positive results. So I can mow a lawn. I can see what I'm doing and the impact I'm making. I'm enjoying it. I'm almost done. I'm so excited. Nice crisp lines in the grass. And then all of a sudden, get to a little tree and boom, garter snake. It's non-threatening. I haven't seen one in a long time. I got scared. I left the lawnmower. I started walking back in the house. I was scared of a little garter snake just crawling through the grass. Out, my sister was watching through the window of the kitchen. She comes out with her young daughter, who was probably 2 or 3 years old, my niece, and they walk right by me. My sister is normally very caring and even protective, and she's so loving and empathic. She walked right by me, didn't even look at me. I'm like, "Well, come on." And she walked and she picked up the snake. And I was like watching this and going to myself, "What is going on? That's not the girl I know. That's not my sister. Who is this?" And she picked it up and she brought it in her hands and she gently played with it with her daughter. To me, that was an incredibly beautiful experience because she had an opportunity to transfuse her fears and anxieties onto her daughter. And she chose to have the courage. She chose to have love for herself and love for her daughter and their relationship by overcoming that fear. That to me is an absolutely beautiful thing. I want you to stop and think about that as a homework scenario for you. The fears that you have, are they adopted? Are they fabricated by yourself? Or are they through cause and effect because a threatening source did harm to you and you know directly that that's something I should be afraid of? And then I want to talk about that more in the next session. If you guys are interested, every Friday, join us. If not, please go to our YouTube channel and you can view the entire session. As always, your ally in life. I hope to talk to you soon. You guys take care.